Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know?
Dude, I had the best time tonight. Uh, for a couple weeks, I've been training this group uh, at one of our local behavioral health places, and they gave me this cool swag stuff
Oh, nice. Look at
like
you.
stickers, and it's this really cool group. They're doing a podcast on like events happening in their school and
Oh, that's
like
neat.
about drugs and all kind of stuff. Good kids. Just wanting to make a difference in their community. So it's pretty cool. But they don't is their podcast. So it's like this, all kids are doing it, but they
Yeah.
don't. So it's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So we did a little training session.
Pretty
So
sure Sherlock just said mama.
yeah, I think I heard him.
Yep. He's in here. Well, we want to give a big thank you to Debbie for the PayPal donation. We appreciate you, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie.
And shout out to our sponsor, Two Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis. Check them out.
And we put up that cool video that Andrea sent us.
Yeah, that was a really nice pillow. That was
It
super
was.
cool.
It was cool.
It was for her husband, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Donna, who won that. And we got
yeah.
another one of those coming up this month.
Yep.
Another giveaway.
That'll be fun. Sherlock is over here. I don't know if y'all can see him. He is in the floor, like, right. He's attacking
Oh, I see him.
the carpet. So, okay. When Suzanne Morphew was reported missing, we didn't have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
It was Mother's Day 2020. So we were still like a month away.
Yeah.
And I kind of loosely followed just sort of the main news articles, just had a basic understanding of the case. We're so far behind the 8 ball on this case that I'm going to tell you, I've lost my religion trying to get a timeline for this that is accurate.
Yeah.
Accurate enough to where I feel comfortable, because what we do when we're researching a case, we usually go with court documents for timelines.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of stuff in the arrest affidavit that wasn't included that I thought was really important. So it's just weeding through speculation, rumor, and all kinds of stuff. Man, this has been one for the books. Let me just say.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I've been reading it. I think I'm like 30 something pages in. I
Yeah,
think.
it's a crazy, crazy case.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think he's guilty of sin. I'll just put that out there. I mean, there's too many coincidences on the day she goes missing, and I say that in air quotes because she didn't go missing, he killed her.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be an interesting trial because, juries like forensics,
Mm-hmm.
and they like that piece of evidence that directly ties the defendant to a crime scene, to a murder, and I don't think unless they're holding something back,
Yeah.
this could be a very interesting trial to watch. We can't watch it. I don't think it's gonna be streamed, but I'm kind of into it now, I have to say. So she was reported missing on Mother's Day 2020. Now, just to kind of catch you guys up, like more current, they had a preliminary hearing kind of in the fall of last year. I think it was August of last year. And he was bound over for trial. But get this, the judge said that there just wasn't enough evidence to hold him without bond, even though he has a murder charge. So he posted $500,000 bond, and he has to live in Chaffee County. But here's the thing, they just recently ruled that he can travel to Gunnison, which is I think like the next town over, to visit his daughters, and then he can go to Denver to see his attorneys.
Okay. Isn't he ankle monitored? Doesn't he have an ankle?
He is, but I think
Yeah.
there was something about the ankle monitor that was a problem. I'm not
Okay.
sure what was up with that. I think maybe it wasn't getting a signal or so. I don't know. So right now he's scheduled for trial, I believe, in May coming up. So a little bit about Suzanne. She is a cancer survivor. She had survived Hodgkin's lymphoma before her girls were born, and then it came back right before they moved to Colorado. And she had her last treatment in October of 2019, but she was having maintenance treatments going in every so often. And so she had an appointment for the day after she was reported missing. So a lot of people said like she would never miss that. There were a lot of things that, you know, but kind of the elephant in the room with this case, and it came out during the preliminary, is that she was in a 2-year affair with an old classmate. And
Yep.
I'm going to tell you, after reading about Barry, I ain't going to judge because he just, I mean, literally, what I gather from this man after researching him for days is that he was into money and sex. It just seemed like what he's, yeah. Oh, man. So
I
I ain't
think
going to,
there was some domestic violence stuff included too, wasn't there?
yeah. I mean, emotional, she says physical, and I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
She made it clear to several people that the marriage was toxic.
Well, she
So
down, and we probably got this in our notes. We'll talk about it. But didn't she download some notes or something out of her phone, out of notes, listing things he had done or something?
yeah, and we have that here to cover.
Yeah.
So they have 2 daughters. Well, anyways, the thing about this boyfriend is nobody knew about it until the preliminary, and it had been going on for a couple of years. So I know that that was a big deal with everybody following this case, but I ain't gonna judge her. It was clear that she probably wasn't getting a lot of emotional care from Barry, and I think that's the number one reason women do that kind of stuff and have affairs is because their emotional needs aren't met. So I ain't judging. Um, it took 6 months to find him though. They didn't find out about Jeff until well into their investigation because he had deleted all the social media that he had used to communicate with her after she went missing. And he didn't contact authorities because he thought he would be a suspect. He has, I think, 6 kids with his wife in Michigan. And he was worried that he would lose his job. And he said that when she went missing, he said there's no way she's alive. So he was cooperative. He gave his DNA, his phone, access to all of the deleted social media accounts. And so, anyways, we do mention a few of their little meetings in here, but just to give kind of a timeline. So why don't you start down here, Fruit Loop, on April 12th?
Gotcha. So April 12th, 2018, Barry and Suzanne purchased the home in Colorado and they moved from Indiana. And I think, doesn't her sister say she kind of got from her sister, maybe this will be a fresh start for them?
I think,
That,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
that things would get better.
right. They had a daughter going to college
Yeah,
there.
and
So I
I
think
think he liked to,
they moved to be closer.
yeah, and he liked to hunt and stuff too. And I know Colorado is a big,
Yeah.
Denver, that area is a big hunting area. So May of 2018, Suzanne sends a message to Jeff, an old high school classmate, and she says, "Howdy, stranger." In the sorry, in the fall of 2018, Jeff's daughter sees a text from Suzanne, and he breaks it off with her. The holiday season 2018, Suzanne finds Jeff's LinkedIn page, and they rekindle their relationship. January of 2019, Suzanne and Barry are in Mexico. He takes her phone as he was suspicious of what she was doing. And Barry later told authorities, "I had some intuition, but I would never think it's a physical thing." February 11th through the 14th of 2019, Suzanne meets Jeff in New Orleans. Okay, what was that commercial? I don't know. There was a commercial. It's a rice commercial, right?
You think about rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat?
No, something about, I don't know. It's some kind of rice commercial. Y'all know
Oh,
what I'm
I think I
talking
know what
about.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So April of 2019, Suzanne meets Jeff in Indiana. Again in July of that year, she meets him in Michigan. September 2019, Barry stalks Suzanne and her friend Sheila Oliver while the girls are at their home. Barry says he did that because he had been hunting and camping in Arizona for a week. He said he smelled bad and thought they were out to eat, so he pulled into a neighbor's driveway. He went up on the hill to look and see if they were home. Suzanne called a neighbor who came out to look. He didn't see anything, but Suzanne still thought she saw something and called 911. During the 911 call, she saw the headlights of the truck come on and pulling in. She realized it was Barry. That's
He has
just
an excuse
creepy.
for everything. I'm gonna tell you, this dude has an excuse for
Yeah.
everything.
But if I remember right, the officers note that he had the excuses after he saw what they had on him.
Yeah, his story changed completely
Yeah.
over from the time this started up until he started figuring out what evidence they had. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So October 2019, Suzanne and Jeff meet up in Dallas. December of that year, Suzanne and Jeff stopped communicating by phone. Suzanne was afraid Barry would find out. January of 2020, Suzanne meets Jeff in Florida. Her friend Sheila gives Suzanne a spy pen that looks like a writing pen but can record conversations. And she did that because she was worried about Suzanne. March of 2020, an argument between Suzanne and Barry is recorded on the spy pen. And this is what it says. This is all I hear every day. This is all I hear every day. What I'm not, what I should think I am. Like, what I should think I am not listening to that anymore. Listen to me, listen to me. And Barry interrupts. Listen to me, listen to me. I have lived for years being told how I should feel, how I should act, how I should look, what I should drink, what I shouldn't drink, what I should put in my body, what I shouldn't put in my body. I fell into this. This is not, it's controlling, more talking. It's not okay, front and back.
Yeah, these people definitely
Well, I
were on
think
the outs.
she was into she like worked at like a one of those workout places or whatever. I'm trying, the name just left me. Fitness center. I couldn't think.
Oh. So,
Didn't she work at a fitness center or something? Or was trying
uh,
to?
I haven't got that far, to
I
be honest.
gotcha. Gotcha.
Been timelining it. So later in the conversation, they're arguing, and Suzanne and they interrupt each other. You know, you want me to
Yeah.
just, and Barry says, no, I'm just asking you to. And Suzanne says, blindly go into this. Barry says, you don't have to blindly do anything. I'll make plenty of money this year to pay you back. Suzanne says, I don't want to talk about it since you yelled at me the other day. And Barry says, okay, I'll make plenty of money this year, this summer to pay you back, probably within a month. This is something I told you was important and you decided to go against my wishes. And this is, I think this is a big deal. Suzanne later says it's all about money. 80% of our arguments are because of money. It's money, it's about money. And about an hour or more into this argument, Barry says, if you want your money, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to make plenty of money. I told you it was important. You decided to go against my will and my wishes. Suzanne kind of said, not against it. You brought it up and we talked about it. I mean, it's just, you can see, I mean, money, stress, and marriage is a big deal. And it seems like Barry was obsessed with money.
Yeah, well, she got settlements from estates of relatives that passed.
Yeah, her, I believe her grandmother.
It was like over $200,000.
And her mom, yeah, both times. It was a pretty big amount of money, and I
Yeah.
know at one point they had borrowed money from Suzanne's dad and were paying him back, and that caused problems with her brother. It's a whole mess.
Yeah.
So on March 20th of 2020, Suzanne is talking to her friend, Sheila Oliver, and Suzanne says, taking care of myself physically in a stressful marriage. Macy and I have had a very tough talk yesterday. She's weary of the tension here. She knows how he is towards me and almost begged me to divorce him. And Sheila says, what does he want? Have you talked any more about splitting? And Suzanne says he threatens, but I've never come out and said I wanted it. And she says, he thinks I'm holding on till after, I think it's Macy graduates, at least May. He probably thinks I'm not strong enough to do it given finances. And I'll tell you, that's the number one reason I think women stay in terrible marriages is because how are they going to make it alone, especially with kids and that kind of thing. And that's really sad.
Yeah.
Suzanne said that I think Macy even mentioned a restraining order. I'm sick. I had conversations like that with my 16-year-old. And Sheila says he's nuts. And Suzanne says, it's Jekyll and Hyde again. Pretty much told him I can't be healthy and stay in this. So Sheila asks, "What did he say?" And Suzanne says, "He threatens to come home and pack. He won't speak of divorce, begging for another chance. I'm so torn, but in my heart, I know who he is." So you can really, and the reason that I put these texts in there is because I think it's important to kind of get her perspective. That's just her words
Yeah.
about the state of the marriage. I mean, the kids knew, and the girls are supporting Barry. They're standing by him, and I find that very curious because usually girls side with their mom.
Well, I know in the affidavit it was split. One said they fought all the time, and the other said, "Oh, they got along great."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Usually the one that lives at home
Yep.
and is there 24/7,
Yep.
if somebody's at college and they don't see it very much, but it really does, and this we're just doing this really to establish a timeline tonight. Future episodes, we're going to dive into the arrest affidavit and break that down completely like we do with other cases. But it really does seem like Barry kinda used these girls sometimes and threw them in the middle for his advantage.
Yeah.
So, you wanna pick up here?
I can. So on March 22nd, 2020, the spy pen catches Barry listening to episodes of Forensic Files, one of which featured a case where a woman went missing while riding her bike. April 21st, 2020, there are 20 texts between Suzanne and Jeff. Suzanne says, "I want to be with you. I can only be me with you. I love you. I need you. I was born to love you." May 3rd, Suzanne drives her daughter Macy to meet Mallory in Gunnison, Colorado for a camping and road trip through Idaho and Utah. Mallory's best friend went along too. May 6th, Suzanne texts Macy, "Good morning. I miss you already." Suzanne texts Barry, "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." Civilly? Civilly. I'll make sure I said that right. Barry is texting suicidal messages to Suzanne. They're deleted off his phone, but investigators retrieve them.
The
Guys, here we go again.
motive.
They
That's
can,
your motive.
yeah, and they can retrieve everything.
Right.
Yeah. I promise you, you are wrong about all the crazy thoughts about me. Why would I want another? Only a fool would stray from an angel like you. Uh, then when I'm dead, going to see my savior, and this life on earth is mere grain of sand compared to eternity. I'm sorry if things went the way they did. I have a problem dealing with the way you accuse me of hiding checks. If you think I'm as terrible of a person to hide our accounts and have ones you don't know about, you don't know me.
Yeah, but, that for me, the "I'm done" text, I think that Barry that sealed her fate, and then he had the perfect opportunity because their daughters are gone.
Yeah.
They're out of the house, they're not even in the same state.
Yeah.
So, May 7th, Suzanne texts Jeff saying for the last few days have been magical, and they kinda text back and forth all day. That same day, Suzanne gets new tires put on her bike, and she texts Barry, "Been studying all afternoon. I'm gonna bike now. I've got veggie soup on for supper." So May 8th, Suzanne's phone does a backup, and that includes a document that they found in notes with a list of 50 reasons she wanted to leave the marriage. This is kind of just one or two words each. It's a Monkey app, which is a dating app, physical abuse, mental abuse while drinking New Year's Eve, name calling, said, "I only need him for money." Women on Facebook, lies about deer, pants unzipped. Trip to Colorado, pin on hand, wear bear claw with FaceTime in Arizona angry. So some of the stuff that makes sense to me, but I'm just putting it out there. Stalking
Yeah.
Sheila and me in the house without telling. Lied and said you needed phone to call Casey. Chased me around the resort and threatened me. That happened, I think, in Mexico. He was trying to get her phone.
Yeah.
Took the phone, not safe alone with you, can't be trusted. That's a big statement because here's the thing. Sometimes people say, "Oh, women make it worse than it is when they're talking to their girlfriends." This is a note to herself.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing with me is when you're reading a note that she backed up, that I haven't read anybody who said they were sent this note, it leads me to believe that this dude's crazy, and she
Yeah.
knew it, and she was
Yeah.
scared of him.
Yep. And the not safe alone with you can't be trusted. She did text. It was either her best friend, the Sheila, or
Right.
sister. I can't remember which because I read it. But she did text her and say, the girls are gone. I don't feel good about being at home with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
huge. Like,
Yep.
you have it privately here, and then you have her telling other people.
Yep.
She says he was oppressive, he would slam on his brakes when he was angry, threatened to jump out of the car, gun, shame and guilt daily for not meeting expectations. Nothing to do with infidelity, everything to do with your character and who you are at the core. That's huge right there. Because she's
Yeah.
just essentially saying, I don't care if you're having an affair at this point. It's you.
Yeah.
Your lack of control over me equals insecurities, equals a sick relationship. Situation with, and that's redacted, when I'm in, accuse me of going behind your back. Um, act like I'm intruding in the garage, verbal abuse, writing checks for cash out of business account, wiring money from account without asking or discussing. Monex, Monex in your name only. Pull the girls in, left 2 times on treatment weeks. Bedroom profession about marrying, having babies, and sleeping together. Don't care about pregnancy possibilities. Hot tub talking to self. Accused me of boyfriend on May 6, 2020. Wrote an Al Anon book. Knew I was looking at phone. So some of that stuff that makes sense to me, but I'm just,
She knew what it meant.
she knew what it meant, and that's a pretty
Yeah.
big list.
Yeah.
So on May 8th, Suzanne texts Barry, sorry I forgot about Rob Mazzell last night, but I will continue to do your invoicing when you need to. So essentially, she did the invoicing for the business, and she was saying, just because I'm done doesn't mean I won't, take care of that.
Yeah.
So she texts her sister, it's hard dealing with the harsh abrasiveness and having to show respect. He's also been abusive emotionally and physically. There's so much. I went through a period of acceptance and I feel more angry now, anger at what I've allowed. When later shown these texts, this is after she's dead. Barry says he didn't think Suzanne was being serious. Like, he says that stuff. It's like he's even with her not there, he minimizes her.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
she wasn't serious.
Yeah.
She wasn't. So May 8th, Barry texts, I love you, Suzanne. And Suzanne texts a photo of Barry standing outside Moonlight Pizza to their daughters. They had went to have food that night. So May 9th at 7:22 a.m., Barry's phone has him at the work site in Pontius Springs, which is really close to their house. And he's working with Morgan Gentile, who said he stayed until 11 and said he had to go make the wife happy, do some hiking or biking.
You want to stop here?
Uh,
Is this
I
a good
think we
place to stop?
I think we can go for a few more minutes if
Okay.
you're good.
All right. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm good.
because I feel like we kinda have built, like, we're just getting into the timeline now.
Yeah. We're gonna leave you hanging. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah.
So May 9th, Suzanne is texting Sheila Oliver about her daughter's upcoming wedding. And this was her best friend. So Suzanne texts Barry and asks if he wanted to go on a hike. Barry says no, he's coming home. Barry and Morgan are driving, and Morgan makes a comment that a pig can eat an entire human body in 2 hours. And Barry responds that he could bury a body and it would never be found. Barry arrives home and says he had vegetable soup with Suzanne. At 1:38, Barry leaves the home. So back in September of 2019, Barry had been in contact with someone named Tim about buying a backhoe. But Barry never did complete the deal.
But the same day at 1:46, Barry texts Tim asking if he was around to look at the backhoe. Tim said he wasn't, but that Barry could drive by and have a look at it, and he gives him the address. He doesn't know if Barry actually came by since their cameras weren't functional, and Barry never sent another message about this again. So FBI agents found out that this is so weird to me that before Barry left Indiana to move to Colorado, he used a backhoe to dig a big hole in his front yard and filled it with furniture, covered it back up, and planted alfalfa on top of it. Associates told investigators that Barry would also dig holes to put large sums of money in, and Barry confirmed this.
That's crazy.
I would be like, that kid in Stand By Me trying to find his pennies under the porch. He got like a
Oh,
1,000
yeah.
holes. I would forget where I buried it.
Dude, my great-grandfather used to do that and put money in a well. They didn't trust a bank back then. But
My grandma, you know what? My great grandmother, Grammy's mom, she would wrap her cash in tinfoil and put it in the freezer.
yep,
We found money stashed all in that house when she died. It was like
yep.
in wall panels and everything.
There's still money buried on my great-grandfather's property that nobody knows about.
Let's go on a treasure hunt.
We own it.
Let's go. We'll be like the Goonies. So Barry has the blade on his Bobcat replaced that day. Now, these Bobcats have GPS, and investigators say, as of now, it was not involved in her disappearance. So
Yeah,
at 2:03, Suzanne sends a selfie of herself sunbathing to Jeff and says, "Guess who is alone again?" And this is the last proof of life for her. This is the last time she's heard from. Barry told investigators that Suzanne looked drunk in the photo. Here's my question. I want to know if they found that swimsuit in the house.
yep.
And that's the other thing. He accused her of abusing pills and alcohol, but nobody has backed that up.
No,
He-
she was a fitness person.
Yeah.
So
And she was really religious, I think, too. She would
Yeah.
like watch mass on TV or whatever every
Yeah.
Sunday. So at 2:26, Barry texts Suzanne, "I'm done," headed back. And at 2:31, he texts her, "Did you leave?"
So at 2:39, Jeff messages Suzanne and she does not respond. At 2:43, Barry arrives at their home. 2:44 to 2:47, Barry's cell phone pings all around their house. He tells authorities that he was shooting chipmunks with a 22.
Who shoots chipmunks with a 22? Seriously.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. How odd is it that he is the last person with her? He admits to having a gun in his hand
Yeah.
and she never heard from again. Come on. You know, juries can use their common sense when they're considering a verdict. Let's just hope we get a good jury for this case.
Well, here's the next thing we're going to talk about. At 2:47, his phone goes into airplane mode. In the preliminary hearing, they show a photo of a broken door frame that is roughly the same coordinates where he was last seen moving around the house while chasing chipmunks.
Yeah, because I didn't put all these times in here because it's just a lot of numbers, and y'all know how we feel about math. You see smoke coming out of my ears.
Yeah.
But they have him kind of running all around the outside of the property, and essentially what investigators think is he hit her with a tranquilizing gun because he had those tranquilizing darts that they can kill humans. I really do think that's how he killed her. Maybe or that or strangled her after she was. That's my theory.
Yeah, because it was, I think the cap or something was found in the dryer or something.
Yeah, but it only had her DNA on it. Not, I think maybe a daughter's, not Barry's. That's what concerns me about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So at 4:44, Barry's car goes into the garage. Barry says he was loading his truck and cleaning his workbench.
Lies.
Yeah. 4:46, Jeff texts Suzanne that the weather in her area looks great. No response from Suzanne. 5:25, Barry's truck is put into reverse and backs down the driveway almost 100 feet. 5:33 p.m., investigators say the truck had a system reboot. And they say that's possibly likely from Barry disconnecting the battery. 10:17, Barry's phone is taken out of airplane mode. He is pinged at their home. So that night, he says he and Suzanne have steaks for dinner together, had sex, and went to sleep. When asked about the steak dinner and why only one dish was in the sink, prosecutors say Barry's story changed from the both having their own steaks to them sharing a steak on one plate and that he washed his plate. Golly. So May 10th, on Mother's Day, the day Suzanne went missing, he says Suzanne was still asleep when he woke up and left for work at 5 a.m. in the morning. A neighbor recalls hearing the truck start up around 4. So at 3:25 a.m., Barry's truck doors are open and closed. At 3:58 a.m., the phone pings near where Suzanne's bike is found. At 4:23 a.m., last ping from Suzanne's cell phone, it was near Poncha Springs. At 4:32 a.m., Barry's phone is put into airplane mode while he is back at their house. Barry heads towards the job site in Broomfield. This scheduled the workers at the last minute. He brought the wrong tools and didn't order things needed for the job.
Yeah, and I mean, it just seems a little too convenient. And I think also in this county, like there's a city ordinance to where you can't do construction on Sundays. None of it made sense.
Yeah.
So he takes an odd route and he told investigators he saw a herd of elk and went that way to look to see where they would shed their antlers. But here's the thing, Barry's this, you know, master hunter dude. And like wildlife experts say that elk shed their antlers way earlier in the year, not in May.
Yeah.
So he says he turned around in a town called Garfield and went to Denver. Now that's like 5 miles out of the way both ways. It makes no sense. I mean, you're looking at a herd of elk at what? I mean, probably before the sun's even up. Just
Yeah.
he's full of is hogwash.
Yeah.
He initially told investigators on May 11th that he left at 5 a.m. to go to Broomfield. So at 6:10 a.m., Barry texted Suzanne to wish her a happy Mother's Day. Suzanne didn't reply. The data from his truck, cell phone, and surveillance shows he made a bunch of stops at several locations to put trash into dumpsters. He goes to a bus stop. He was there for 2 minutes. He goes to the Holiday Inn Express in Broomfield and throws away trash. At 8:25 in the morning, he walks into the hotel, and at 8:38, he's seen going into his room, and he's carrying multiple items in. At 8:41 a.m., Barry texts Suzanne's phone to tell her he has gotten to Broomfield and to call him when she gets a chance. At 8:46, he's seen carrying stuff into the room again. So at 10:06 a.m., he leaves the hotel for the work site and goes to a McDonald's where he throws away more trash. He's actually seen pushing the trash down with his hands. Okay, that's gross.
Yeah. I don't ever touch that. I don't even hardly touch nothing.
So then he goes to a Men's Warehouse parking lot to dispose of trash. He stays there 40 minutes. And he says he stayed so long because he was getting crap out of his truck. But if you look at the evidence photos, like his truck was full of crap. And it
Yeah.
was really dusty. And also, I think he threw away a pair of boots. And my theory is he wore those whenever he disposed of her body. Because I'm telling you, if you watch, he watches Forensic Files. We know he watched it for hours when he was on, or listened when he was on the road. They can take dirt samples and go to where, they can find out where this dirt comes from. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you can't get away with nothing.
Yep.
So, Barry calls Morgan, which is his worker, to tell her that he's in Broomfield, and she said he sounded out of breath and didn't sound like himself.
So he returns to the hotel carrying disorganized papers and a binder. When he leaves, the papers are organized. 11:57 to 12:25, Barry is at the work site. He didn't have the proper tools with him for the job and didn't bring the Bobcat. And why drive all that way to stay such a short time at the job site?
Right, yeah. It's like 6 hours total there and back, and he stays 15, 20 minutes at the work site. It's an alibi. All he did was set up an alibi.
Yeah, because he wasn't able to work on that site due to city ordinances, like we said.
Right.
So 12:36, Barry arrives at the Holiday Inn and throws trash away there. Dude, who is he? Oscar the Grouch?
I tell you what, he said the reason that he did all these trash runs is because he's too cheap to like pay for trash removal. Bull hawk.
Dude.
He got a case of diabetes too.
Yeah. So 12:42, Barry enters his hotel room. At 3:30 p.m., he texts Suzanne, "Call me." Between 4 and 4:30, Barry and Suzanne's oldest daughter calls the Ritters, a neighbor of the Morphews, because she can't get in touch with Suzanne. The wife goes to the Morphew home twice, once to see if she was there and again to check to see if the bike is there. So at 5:15, Barry receives a call from Miss Ritter and another from Martin Ritter. At 5:45, he tells Miss Ritter he was at the work site. He was at the hotel. The neighbor doesn't see the bike. She is reported missing at 5:46 by Martin. Miss Ritter went back to the house to leave a note for Suzanne in case she showed up. So at 6:03, Barry leaves his hotel room and calls Martin at 6:05. At 6:09, he calls Morgan Gentile, and at 6:10, he is seen entering the hotel lobby carrying 2 shovels and put them by the front desk. He makes more trips with tools and places them in the same spot by the desk. 6:12, Barry leaves the hotel. 7:10, Barry receives a call from the sheriff's office, and at 7:21, he made a call to Suzanne's phone.
Yeah. I mean, like, if somebody calls and says, "Hey, your wife's not home, the girls are worried," why is he waiting 2 hours to call her?
And why are you taking your tools to the desk and
Your shovel.
not leaving?
Right. So at 7:31, investigators find Suzanne's bike. By the way, our YouTube, we have all of these new body cam videos that were released today up, including when they found her bike. Investigators noted that there was no sign of a crash. The vegetation wasn't flat where she would have landed, and the bike had no damage. Even though the steepness of the incline, the bike would have had damage if she would have crashed. They thought it looked staged, and the brakes were engaged.
Yeah.
So at 7:33, the sheriff's office calls Barry and tells him they found Suzanne's bike. So Barry starts crying and says he was headed that way and asked if they found her phone. He didn't ask if they found her. Did you find her phone?
Yeah.
So when Barry arrives where they found her bike, he immediately asks, have they seen any cats in the area? Talking about mountain lions. And the deputy says, not recently. So it was theorized by Barry that maybe a mountain lion had attacked her since they have been seen in the area. Animal experts doubt this because mountain lions, they only take their prey about 450 feet away from the initial attack site. So another theory is maybe she had a bike accident or was forced off the road and became disoriented. There was a river kind of nearby. And I think that was one of Barry's theories is maybe she swept downstream. Isn't that convenient? Investigators found texts between Suzanne and a friend where Suzanne says, she said she had no peace when he was there and he wouldn't talk about a divorce and she wouldn't feel safe being alone with him. And I think that's just something we had previously talked about, but that's big when you don't feel safe in
Yeah.
your own home with your husband.
Yeah.
So between 10 and 10:30 p.m., Morgan and the other worker arrive at the hotel, and the guy takes Barry's old room. And when they open the door, they notice a strong chlorine smell that made Morgan's eyes water. And they notice that there are wet towels on the floor, and Barry had made the bed. He also finds a property insurance document under the pillow. So there was a preliminary hearing in summer last year. Hotel workers said the bleach smell in Barry's hotel room had been there before Barry checked in because that room is directly above an indoor pool. So, yeah.
You want to stop here? Keep going.
I think we just finish out this timeline and then next episode we'll start the arrest affidavit because we don't have too much more to go.
All right, sounds good. So May 11th, Barry calls Morgan and says that he thinks a mountain lion may have attacked Suzanne. She said he was crying initially, but changed the topic to the Broomfield job. Investigators speak to Mallory and Macy. They both admit the marriage had problems and Suzanne would never just leave them. Barry is also interviewed. He said Suzanne's plan for the day was to get the house cleaned and get the spare rooms ready for Mallory and Macy, who were due to return that day, possibly bringing a friend with them. Barry admitting to owning guns. Investigators found a high-powered rifle in the closet on the floor. They also found a shotgun in the garage. They found a 22 round unfired on the floor in the master bedroom. Under the bed, they found a rifle storage case. Investigators take Barry's truck to search. On May 13th, investigators photographed scratches on Barry's arms and hands. He says he got those from tree branches while searching for Suzanne. There's a large search for Suzanne with 100 people. They also continue the search the next day. Barry creates a GoFundMe and it raises $33,000. May 14th, Barry offers a $100,000 reward, saying he thinks his wife has been abducted. That grows to $200,000 after a family friend matched that amount. The FBI and Colorado Bureau of Investigations being to aid in the search. Investigators find Suzanne's helmet less than a mile from where her bike was found. It was about 50 feet off the road. So May 17th, Barry's plea video is uploaded to Facebook. Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there and can hear this that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. Your girls need you. No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back so bad.
Who told him that was a good idea?
I don't know. Wasn't me.
Because I remember seeing that way back when, and I looked at that and I thought, he's full of it. So on May 19th, the Morphew home is searched, and this is when investigators find a plastic needle cover in the dryer, and this comes from a tranquilizer dart. Suzanne's DNA is on the cap. I think one of their daughter's DNA was also on there. Barry's is not. He admits to disposing of tranquilizer solution on his way to Broomfield, though. That's a big deal. Investigators theorize that Barry came home on the 9th, snapped, and used the animal tranquilizer dart on Suzanne. Barry told investigators he was experienced in shooting tranquilizer darts or shooting the guns. He would tranquilize deer and take their antlers to sell. I'm just going to tell you, people that do that stuff suck. There's an evidence photo from the garage showing a lot of mounted deer heads and antlers. They're everywhere. I would have the willies in that garage, not even going to lie. Barry admitted what he did was illegal, but said they'd find tranquilizer darts on his property from him doing that. So as far as those tranquilizing darts, it takes 4 to 20 minutes for a deer to fall from being sedated, and it can be fatal if you get too much. Investigators think he was chasing Suzanne around the house after he shot her with the tranquilizer, not that he was shooting chipmunks. So her sister Melinda was interviewed at the FBI office in Tennessee, and she tells the agent that Suzanne had said for months things were getting tense with her and Barry. He was a narcissist and controlling, loves money, and treats Suzanne and the girls like trophies. She said that Suzanne was very codependent, and they often put on a front to show they were happy together. And when she heard Suzanne was missing, she immediately thought Barry killed her. So May 20th, police found the spy pen that records the conversations in the master bedroom. It was given by her friend. So it actually captured conversations with Suzanne and her boyfriend, Jeff. So May 22nd, a residential work site of Barry's is searched. Barry was hired to lay dirt on the land, which is riverfront property. And on May 26th, the Morphew home is given back to Barry after all the search warrants. Barry withdraws $5,846 from the Suzanne Morphew Foundation account that left a zero balance. She had started that years before. June 1st, Barry files in Hamilton County, Indiana, for him to serve as her guardian. This allows him to sell the homes in Indiana and Colorado, and he begins to liquidate their assets really quickly. June 1st, she's only been gone, what? Not even a month.
Yeah.
And he's already doing things to sell off stuff. July 1st, Barry bought a lot at the Longhorn Ranch in Salida for $160,000. He sells it back to them on February 7th of 2021. July 13th, he sells Suzanne's Range Rover. October 5th, he lists their home for sale, the last home that she lived in. It sold on March 3rd of last year, and it went for $1,625,000. August 20th, Barry has a phone interview with Lauren Scharf from Fox 21. He's still theorizing about this animal attack, an accident, a run-in with somebody. He said the coverage of her disappearance has put him in a bad light. And he said, I'm afraid of what is out there. People don't know the truth, so they're going to think what they're going to think. He denies.
Okay.
Yeah, what?
Okay. The animal attack. If she was attacked by an animal where her bike was, there would be blood everywhere.
There would be blood. There would be clothes. There would be,
Yeah.
Shreds of clothes. Yeah, he's full of it.
Yeah.
He claims the sheriff's department screwed up the investigation and they're trying to cover it up and blame him. Yeah, because they really want to do that. I mean, it's just he's so.
So didn't he deny ever being asked to take a polygraph?
He did. He said that they never asked him. I'm sure they asked him.
Yeah.
October 5th of 2020, Barry listed their home for sale in October of 2020 for $1,625,000. It sold April 21st, 2021 for $1,575,000. May 4th of last year, the arrest warrant is issued for Barry. So that's a really rough timeline. And if we made any mistakes, please forgive us. This has been a really hard thing to pull together. Let us know if we did, though, because we right the wrongs. Yeah. So what we'll do next is we're going to start diving into that arrest affidavit just because there's a lot of interviews, a lot more insight. And then what I really want to do is start to pick apart his changing story.
Yeah.
and just see how it evolves as the investigation goes on.
Yeah.
But, as of now, they've never found her body. I don't know what he did with her, but they haven't found her.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the preliminary hearings, they do enough to get it bound over for trial. They don't always put all their cards on the table. I hope they have an ace up their sleeve.
Yeah. Well, I've already seen the questions coming in about his daughter supporting him, and we saw that in Chad Daybell case.
Yeah. I mean, and,
Yeah.
and look, if he's pulling these girls into these arguments when they're having these, if he's pulling them in, then you kind of wonder maybe. I mean, for me, I wonder after the affair was revealed at that preliminary, did that really kind of solidify their support for their dad? Because, you never know. But like you say,
Yeah.
with the Daybell kids,
Mhm.
there's enough evidence to convince anybody he was involved. And as far as we know, they still support him. So
Yeah.
go figure. But yeah, so we just wanted to at least start this case because you guys have asked us since we started this podcast. So there you have it. We'll be back with you tomorrow with some more, and hope you guys have a good night.